Shalom, family. Good to see everyone here. Hope you're doing well. Well, we're going to look at a big protest that broke out at a church when service should have been going on because it's a white pastor, and people found out he was part of ICE. So he works for ICE as a field director. And apparently they found out about this, and Don Lemon is one of the people that covered this story, and he got a warning from the DOJ. So I don't know if he took part in organizing this whole thing, but he got a warning. And you're going to see just how wild and crazy this whole thing got. Now, who outed him? A black woman pastor. She was the one that outed him. So you're going to see this thing really spiral out of control. They literally were not able to have Sunday service at all. And towards the end, you're going to see other locations where there were priests. These were white priests. And ICE went to the church to try to storm it. And the preacher, not the preachers, but I guess the priest, the Catholic priest, blocked them from going in there. So those are at the very end. But you will see how crazy this protest got up in the church. And people were really going at this pastor, saying, they could not believe he was ICE. What he was doing was wrong. And they really turned on they turned all the way up on this white pastor. So, y'all, let me go ahead and share my screen so we can get started. Please give me a 1 if you can see my screen. And by the way, 2 announcements. My Etsy and Shopify still have 30% off. You just need the promo code January 2026 to get your discount. And also my fundraiser, I'm happy to say we're more than halfway to the finish line, and I'm happy about that as well, and deeply grateful and humble. All right, y'all. Thank you so much.
Ice out! Ice out! Ice out! Ice out! Ice out!
So the protesters are confronting church members and leaders. They've stopped the service. A lot of people, a number of people have left. There are some who are still sitting here.
Are you okay with the injustice that's happening within your city? Are you okay? No, so you're not okay with
I'm just here. I'm just here photographing.
Are you okay with the
I'm not part of the group. I'm just here photographing. I'm a journalist.
This ain't God's house. It's the house of the devil.
Excuse me, sir. Can I get right here? Thank you. I'm sorry. So you can see the protesters here have gathered over here. They're in the middle of the church. During the beginning of the church service, the pastor was speaking, and Makima stood up and said her piece, and then the protesters surrounded her. But this is a clandestine mission. I think they found out according to them, this is according to Operation Pull Up, that one of the pastors here is a member of ICE. And so here we go.
You could talk to the lead pastor.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. And so the pastor is over there.
So I do want to say one more thing. The name of this pastor is David Eastwood. All right. That is the name of the pastor of this church that works for ICE. All right. So let's go on.
And so the elbow screaming Renee Good. So right now it's kind of mayhem in here. And there are some folks here who are praying. Some of the members are chronicling, and it's a surprise effort, obviously, and the folks here are not happy about it. And so they're trying to figure out what to do about it. That's the lead pastor over there with the thing. And I don't know if he's the one that works for us. We don't know. That's what they're saying. So we're here just chronicling and reporting. We're not part of the activists, but we're here just reporting on them. I'm not with, I'm just. So this is what the First Amendment is about the freedom to protest. I'm sure people here don't like it, but protests are not comfortable. And there are people here I'm looking at a young man who's in the corner. He's frightened, he's scared, he's crying. People are leaving church. So, yeah. Guys standing up now saying, get out of that church. He's screaming. They're trying to calm him down. So I don't know if this is what they deem as successful or not. But anyways, I'm not going to get in the middle of it because I'm not here as an activist. I'm here as a journalist. I don't think they know what to do. I'm sure they probably call the local authorities right now and they'll show up in a bit. But so far, no one has been hurt. People are just really angry and upset. And members of the church are trying to get them to calm down. But this is the beginning of what's going to happen here. When you violate people's due process, when you pull people off the street and you start dragging them and hurting them and not abiding by the Constitution, when you start doing all of that, people get upset and angry. And if you remember what the civil rights movement was about, the civil rights movement was about these very kinds of protests. And for some reason, in our modern era, people think that in order to have protests, you got to be, cordoned off to a certain area and, what time you can protest. Look, there's nothing in the Constitution that tells you what time you can protest. You can protest at any time. That's the whole point of it, is to disrupt, to make uncomfortable. And that's what they're doing. And that's what I believe when I say everyone has to be willing to sacrifice something. You have to make people uncomfortable in these times. If you see how uncomfortably and how harsh people are being treated on the streets, you have to be willing to go into places and disrupt and
Okay. This footage was done on a cell phone. Okay. So I don't have a bigger footage to show you, but I do have more footage following this where you will get a better view of it. All right. That's all I can tell you.
Make people uncomfortable. That is what this country is about. Nakima is over in the middle. What do you think of this?
I mean, this is unacceptable. It's shameful. It's shameful to interrupt a public gathering of Christians in worship. So,
but there were folks who
I have to take care of my flock.
Okay, but listen, we live in there's a constitution in the First Amendment to freedom of speech and freedom to assemble and protest.
We're here to worship. We're here to worship Jesus because that's the hope of these cities. That's the hope of the world is Jesus Christ.
I want to be very respectful. Please don't push me though.
We're here to worship Jesus. Yes. That's why we're here. Yeah. Okay. That's why we're here. Okay. That's what we're about.
Do you think Jesus would be understanding
we're about
love these folks?
We're about spreading the love of Jesus.
But did you try to talk to them?
No one is willing to talk.
Okay.
I have to take care of my church and my family, so I asked that you actually would also leave this building.
You don't want us to
unless you're here to worship. Unless you're here to worship.
I'm always worship. I'm a Christian.
We're here to worship. We're here to worship. Okay.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
People here I'm looking at a young man who's in the corner. He's frightened. He's scared. He's crying. People are leaving church. So, yeah. Guys standing up now saying, get out of here. Screaming.
Don Lemon going independent has been one of the best things to happen to boots on the ground journalism because, baby, the story he just broke. Protesters in Minnesota went to City's church to shut down its service because they discovered that one of its lead pastors, David Easterwood, is actually an ICE agent. Are we shocked? Are we shocked? All you got to do is make Jesus a few shades darker. And this is a direct, accurate depiction of what's happening right now, because this is not a church. This is not what he preached, and this is not what he practiced. This is deception.
Here have gathered over here. They're in the middle of the church. During the beginning of the church service, the pastor was speaking, and Nakima stood up and said her piece, and then the protesters surrounded her. But this is a clandestine mission. I think they found out according to them, according to Operation Pull-Up, that one of the pastors here is a member of ICE. And so, here we go. This is peaceful?
Well, it's
nobody fighting.
It's trespassing. How would you feel if I went to your house and I started yelling?
It depends on what I did, but not in my house. That's a whole different thing. I think these people would go inside of anybody's house.
Well, this is the house of God.
Which makes it everybody's house.
Yes, it is.
This is peaceful?
That man really sat here and said, how would you feel if somebody came into your house and started yelling? We've got thousands and hundreds and thousands of people that we can ask that right now as ICE agents continue to violate the laws and break into their homes and start yelling at them and then, kidnapping them and stuff. But I digress. Don, thank you so much for the incredible work that you're doing, for all the boots on the ground journalism that you're doing. Minnesota, we see you. We are so proud of you. Keep your foot on their necks. Flip those tables. Hold everyone accountable. Spread the story. Spread the news. And it is a time, y'all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Renee Good! Shame on you! Shame on you! Shame on you! This is the house of God.
Why are you not at local protesting? Why are you not standing up with your guys? You know it's falling
We have a duty to win. Justice for our immigrant neighbors. Justice for Renee Good. Justice for Renee Good. Renee Good.
Two black people who are fighting for somebody who do not care about them at all.
So you can see the protesters here have gathered over here. They're in the middle of the church. In the beginning of the church service, the pastor was speaking, and Nakima stood up and said her piece, and then the protesters surrounded her. But this is a clandestine mission. I think they found out according to them, this is according to Operation Pull Up, that one of the pastors here is a member of ICE. And so here we go.
Yes, yeah. City Church, yes. And that's why we're here, demanding justice for Renee Good and letting them know that this will not stand. They cannot pretend to be a house of God while harboring someone who is directing ICE agents to wreak havoc upon our community and who killed Renee Good, who almost killed a 6-month-old baby. Enough is enough. I am a reverend on top of being a lawyer and an activist. So I come here in the power of the Almighty God.
So they stormed a church in St. Paul, Minnesota, because they thought or found out or whatever they said that one of the pastors is part of ICE. So this is what they do. They think this is a great thing. They are storming a church during service. They are breaking up church to protest ICE. But the most common denominator that we see, it doesn't work unless we have these. This right here. Black people. It only gets big. It only spreads if they have this right here. Two black people who are fighting for somebody who do not care about them at all. So they go into a church. They finally got a couple black people willing to take $1 to try to go in here and go against ICE. They finally found the people that they need to push their agenda. What's the point of going into a church and having a protest against ICE? So that's what we're doing now. When I tell people about this stuff, man, this is a war on religion as well. This is a war on Christianity. They wouldn't do this at a mosque. They wouldn't do this in a Catholic place. They won't do this anywhere else but the Christian church. This is the war on the Christian church. But who do they use to headline this? Black people. I keep telling y'all, black people, y'all need to stay out, but y'all continually come in because of money. We doing this stuff. We going into churches now because of your belief about ICE. When Obama did the same thing, and you guys were just fine with it. These same black people that we see today was just fine with Obama doing it because you guys liked them.
Church service today in St. Paul, Minnesota was interrupted by anti-ICE protesters. They were shouting Renee Good's name and then also saying, "Hands up, don't shoot." This happened at City's Church, a Baptist church. I'm never a fan of interrupting religious services. I think it's quite frankly disgusting. These ICE protesters picked this church because one of the pastors allegedly works with ICE. It's not this guy, but another man. And as you can see, they were attacking this guy who was leading the service and then attacked churchgoers. And guess who was there? Don Lemon.
This is unacceptable. It's shameful. It's shameful to...
He was asking the pastor about what he thinks of it. Jonathan Parnell's this man right here. Don Lemon was saying there are First Amendment rights for this. He fell under fire for being there. People said, why were you there? And he said, well, I was just covering the event. I wasn't a part of the protest. There were children at the service, as Don Lemon points out.
And, you know, I imagine it's uncomfortable and traumatic for the people here. But
now listen to this.
It's very slippery right here. It's uncomfortable and traumatic for the people here, but that's what really, careful, please, really slippery. Not kidding. That's what protesting is about.
Here's some more footage.
You can see all these pretend Christians, all these comfortable white people who are living lavish, comfortable lives while children are dragged into.
By the way, David Easterwood is the name of the pastor that works at this church that allegedly works for ICE.
For your Latino and Somali brothers and sisters, you come here to a man wearing a suit. Is a preacher? Did Jesus wear a suit?
Now comes the part where he tells the Christians how to do Christianity. I love when they do that. They always do that. By the way, I'm not surprised by this. I'm not surprised by anti-ICE protesters coming into places of faith. Until you submit to their worldview, they will continue to go into these places of faith. They will, and it's unfortunate, but that this will continue. And they will shame you, and they will demand that you leave your own church as they're yelling, out, out, out. They will demand you leave your own church that you've been going to for possibly years, decades. And then they will yell at you. They will yell at you. They will yell at your kids.
Shame on you. Do something. Stand with the Somalis. Stand with the Latinos.
So, yeah.
So the protesters in Minnesota just found out that one of their head pastors of a church in Minnesota is ICE, and they just stormed the church. Protesters showed up and disrupted the entire sermon and called this pastor out for what he is. He is the head pastor. I'm not sure of the name of the church yet, but they are there right now. This just goes to show you that you can't hide. You can hide your face, but you will be found out. And if you are going against your own fellow neighbors, like, what did you think was going to happen? Look at what you have caused in your church. Told y'all they were the Triple K, because this is exactly how the Triple K operated. Went out at night to go hang Black people, covering their faces, and then in the morning on Sunday, preaching to the motherfucking church.
A senior pastor has been exposed as also serving as an ICE enforcement officer, and the church can no longer remain neutral. In Minnesota, a religious service that was proceeding normally was suddenly disrupted by protesters. The reason was that protesters discovered the church's senior pastor, David Easterwood, was not only preaching from the pulpit, but was also involved in immigration enforcement. This is not overlapping roles. It is a direct clash of values. After the video surfaced, public opinion quickly split. Supporters say it was a peaceful protest and a public challenge to law enforcement power entering a religious space. Opponents argue that regardless of political views, entering a church and interrupting a service crosses the line of law and order. The debate quickly moved beyond whether the protest itself was appropriate. Instead, it pointed to a sharper question. Can a religious leader freely move between the pulpit and the enforcement system? When an enforcement role is hidden behind a pastoral identity, are worshipers receiving spiritual guidance or the projection of power?
How can you be a pastor of a church, but overseeing ICE agents in the field? So if you Google City's Church, you will see David Easterwood's name there. If you Google him, you will also see him at a press conference that was held by C-SPAN, standing next to Kristi Noem. And also the lawsuit that was filed by the ACLU in December on behalf of 6 Minnesota residents that just went in front of Judge Melendez, and where she put an injunction against ICE for them being able to retaliate against peaceful protesters. His name is in those court documents, again, as the director of the field office for ICE in St. Paul. That is unacceptable. How can you be a pastor of a church, but overseeing ICE agents in the field? We know that ICE agents just killed Renee Good. We know that they shot a Venezuelan nationalist. We know that they almost killed a 6-month-old baby in North Minneapolis, as well as terrorized their whole family of 6, had to send 3 of their children to the hospital, 2 of which had asthma, as they fired tear gas and flashbang grenades at the cars of innocent people. We know that they dragged people out of their cars, out of their homes. They dragged pregnant women. They beaten and attacked immigrants and U.S. citizens. So how dare somebody claim to be a pastor while overseeing evil? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Now, you guys heard that pastor pray. Dear Lord, please chasten us to get our house in order. That was the perfect prayer for such a time as this. Because that's what we came to do. Get your house in order. Don't pretend to be a church while harboring evil. Unacceptable. In addition to being a lawyer, I am also an ordained reverend. So I know what the word says. And I know right from wrong. Jesus, who they claim to worship, went into the so-called houses of God. He flipped over tables. That's right. Because he said, this is not my Father's house. I don't care what you pretend. Right. So that's what we did today. We flipped over a table for truth, justice, and righteousness. Amen. Period.
The Department of Justice said it's investigating a group of protesters who disrupted a church service in Minnesota. Protesters allege that one of the church's pastors, David Easterwood, is a leader of the local ICE field office, according to the Associated Press.
Renee Good.
That office is overseeing operations that have involved violent tactics and alleged illegal arrests. Video was posted on the Facebook page of Black Lives Matter Minnesota, one of the organizers of the protests. It's unclear if Easterwood was at this Sunday service. The website of City's Church, which is based in St. Paul, lists David Easterwood as a pastor. His personal details also appear to match the court filings of the acting director of the ICE field office in St. Paul, according to the Associated Press. In October, Easterwood can also be seen alongside DHS Secretary Kristi Noem at a press conference. A U.S. Department of Justice Assistant Attorney General said on X her agency is investigating federal civil rights violations of the protesters for, quote, desecrating a house of worship and interfering with Christian worshippers. Meanwhile, Black Lives Matter Minnesota co-founder Monique Cullis-Doty said, we can't sit back idly and watch people go and be led astray. City's Church did not respond for comment on Sunday evening, and Easterwood's personal contact information could not immediately be located for comment.
David Easterwood is a pastor here. He is also the director of the field office for ICE in St. Paul.
So the protesters in Minnesota just found out that one of their head pastors of a church in Minnesota is ICE, and they just stormed the church. Protesters showed up and disrupted the entire sermon and called this pastor out for what he is. He is the head pastor. I'm not sure of the name of the church yet, but they are there right now.
People here who are, I'm looking at a young man who's in the corner. He's frightened. He's scared. He's crying. People are leaving church. So, yeah. Guys standing up now saying, get out of here. Screaming.
This just goes to show you that you can't hide. You can hide your face, but you will be found out. And if you are going against your own fellow neighbors, like, what did you think was going to happen? Look at what you have caused in your church. Told y'all they were the Triple K, because this is exactly how the Triple K operated. Went out at night to go hang black people, covering their faces, and then in the morning on Sunday, preaching to the motherfucking church.
Out of God's house. I don't know what God you worship, maybe an orange one, but my God is love. He welcomes the stranger, not the chains you carry. Out of God's house. I don't know what God you worship, maybe an orange one, but my God is love. He welcomes the stranger, not the chains you carry. Out of God's house. I don't know what God you worship, maybe an orange one, but my God is love. He welcomes the stranger, not the chains you carry. You have no right to put your hands on him. This is a house of God. Sir, step back. We're just doing our job. Not one more step. Archbishop, don't please me. This is sacred ground. Nobody wants trouble here. Let's.
Wow, Sundays just got better, y'all. I didn't know Sunday was this active, but apparently it was, because this all happened yesterday. So it looked like, I guess they're trying to, this just tells me they must be looking into these ICE agents to figure out who they are and then put it out there. So this pastor is ICE. He's also ICE. It's not unusual for pastors to have other jobs or things they do outside of the church. We know they all had time to be Klansmen because, these white pastors were full participants in lynching, mainly, our men, our women, and even children got lynched back in the day. So, and they participated all the way. So I'm not shocked that they would be part of ICE, you know. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I wasn't feeling that sister that was also a pastor and a lawyer, whatever she was saying. Nah, honey, I ain't feeling you at all. Mm-mm. So they did not get to have their church service. It was badly disrupted. So, oh well. The Most High is that right there, y'all, just proves the Most High is not in these church houses. He's not in the church house at all. And this is proof, and you're going to see more proof of it as the weeks come. This is going to be a very interesting year. And I do agree. I forgot who wrote it, but yes, this is 2026 is going to be a big year of protest. Yes, it is. But it's not going to be us turning up in this country. And, unfortunately, there's still a few that's going to be out there, but it's not the majority. And that's the good part. The majority of us are still staying away from these protests. And we don't need to be interacting with any federal authorities up in here anyway. We're not immigrants. So what would we be talking to them about? We're not immigrants. So, y'all, thank you so much for being here. I deeply appreciate it. And, like I said, the 30% off sale is still on. And because a lot of people always ask me about the gray reversal, that is on Shopify. And right now, that is 30% off. So you can get it over there. And I thank you all for your support. I thank you all for your donations and all of your kind words and prayers. I have my surgery on February 18th. And at this point, I just can't wait to get it over with. I am going through the sleepless nights because of the pain. But I'm still trying to have a positive outlook because I know, somewhere along the line this will end. And I look forward to that. So thank you, everybody. I do have a live stream at 7. I'm trying to get LVZ and the True Royal family to join me so we can talk a little further about this dude and him being in charge of the new Black Panther out of Philly and the things that he's saying, because he seems to be interested in defending anybody but the Black community. The word Black Panther, that was for us, and he keeps insisting, no, that's not for Black people. That's a damn lie. That's a lie. And we will talk about that a little further at 7 o'clock. I just have to get everything set up. So I hope to see you all back then. There's one more I might do a little before then. So just be on the lookout for my live streams. Shalom, family.